Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. I'm RexFinance, and today we're going to be talking about the United States Postal Service contract, which is obviously a hot topic item, especially if you're invested into Workhorse Group. Now, I was actually the very first YouTuber to cover Workhorse on my channel. It was a very cringy video, I'm going to be honest with you, but just for proof, I'll put it up on the screen right there for you guys to see that I posted a video on Workhorse stock when it was less than $3 a share. And now we're sitting at well over $30 a share, so I've been here and I've seen this happen. I've seen Workhorse stock go from $3 a share all the way to over $30 a share in such a short amount of time. Now, on top of this secret revolving the United States Postal Service contract, I'm going to be going through some different concerns and assumptions we're going to make going into that secret. So, the first assumption that we're going to make in this video is that Workhorse is going to win the majority of the contract. If you don't believe that's going to happen, I would encourage you to watch this video that I posted on my channel not too long ago on all of the reasons why Workhorse is going to win the contract. There will be a link up in the corner as well as a link down in the description if you guys want to watch that video and need to convince yourselves more that Workhorse is really going to be the major winner of this contract in the end. So now let's get into the first concern that I am presented with almost every single time I do a Workhorse video. Somebody pops up in the comment section saying,
Workhorse isn't going to win the contract. They don't have the production capacity.
However, that's a false interpretation because Lordstown Motors, who Workhorse owns 10% of, has said repeatedly that they are willing to be the subcontractee of the contract, meaning that Lordstown is willing to produce USPS vehicles in their 6.3 million square foot facility. The United States Postal Service vehicle prototype that Workhorse has provided actually uses the same chassis as the Lordstown Endurance, so they wouldn't have to switch up any of the assembly line, and the vehicles could be made on the same exact assembly line that the Lordstown Endurance vehicle is being built on. Lordstown Motors' CEO, Steve Burns, actually the former CEO of Workhorse, actually just went on my good friend Jack Spencer's YouTube channel and said a week ago that they would be willing to do this for Workhorse. So when you consider Workhorse already has 2 facilities where they can produce these vehicles at, on top of adding some square footage of facility from Lordstown, there isn't going to be a production capacity issue for Workhorse. Another top concern I usually receive in my comment section whenever I do a Workhorse video is that Workhorse isn't going to be trusted with the contract because they've had less than $100,000 in revenue in the past few quarters. Now, while this is true, what people don't realize is there's a reason for that. This is the thing that investors have been missing all along with Workhorse ever since I first invested at sub $3 a share. It's because Workhorse stopped production and deliveries of the past generation of vehicles so that they could put 100% of their focus and resources on the research and development of the C-Series next generation delivery vehicles, which are just now going to start to be delivered and produced in the coming quarter. Workhorse actually has the most electric trucks on the roads out of any company in the entire United States. They boast 6 million miles total being driven using a Workhorse vehicle. The bulk of these miles come from UPS and FedEx, who are already customers of Workhorse and have big backlogs with Workhorse that are going to be delivered on in the coming year. So while it's true that Workhorse had little to no revenues over the past few quarters, there was also a very important reason for that, which I just highlighted. And if I could see through this and do the research at sub $3 a share, so can the Postal Service. The Postal Service can realize that Workhorse used to have plenty of revenue numbers, and those stopped for a very good reason, and they're going to grow even exponentially more in the future, and they're going to be higher than they have ever been in the past. In addition to that, some people are concerned with Workhorse's financial position. However, Workhorse has over $100 million in cash currently, so that's really not a problem anymore after their recent investment by an institutional investor. The last critique that I generally receive on my Workhorse videos is people saying that Ford and Oshkosh are going to win the contract. I don't think there's anybody out here that disagrees with you that Ford and Oshkosh are going to win a portion of the contract. However, I don't personally think that's going to be more than 25 or 35% of the whole entire contract combined. Workhorse's prototype is really the perfect vehicle for the United States Postal Service and mail delivery in general. Workhorse's vehicles operate more like a golf cart, which is entirely more efficient than these gas-guzzling vehicles or other prototypes that aren't electric. And there's a reason most golf carts are electric these days. It's because they start and stop, which is exactly what mail delivery vehicles do during a day. They start and stop at mailboxes within, a mile radius. And it shouldn't have to be said, but the reason golf carts are mostly electric is because it's a lot more efficient than the gas-guzzling golf carts that used to dominate in the past. So another concern that's raised, not necessarily from people that don't think Workhorse is going to win the contract, but Workhorse investors in general are concerned that Workhorse is going to be operating and producing these USPS vehicles at a loss. Now this is where the USPS secret that I've talked about comes into play. It's common knowledge that the original value of the United States Postal Service contract is $6.3 billion, split up between the winners. So no matter how the contract is split up, even if Workhorse won the contract outright, that would be $6.3 billion to their income statement over the course of 5 years, while producing and delivering 180,000 vehicles for the United States Postal Service. That math works out to be around $35,000 per vehicle that the United States Postal Service is paying. However, the part that people don't realize is the actual value of this contract is more like $20 billion. Now, how we get that statistic is through an official Mahindra press release, which a whole lot of people aren't even aware of. That simply states the United States Postal Service contract is going to be valued around $20 billion when it's all said and done. Now, how we get to that $20 billion is because whoever wins this contract is going to be responsible for maintenance and repairs on any and all of the vehicles, on top of producing the vehicles. So if the United States Postal Service wants to purchase more vehicles than the original 180,000, they're going to be paying these companies even more money. But the part I'm focused on is really the fact that these companies are going to be responsible for the maintenance and repairs of the vehicles. So when we do the math of $20 billion divided by 180,000 vehicles, that's more like revenue of $110,000 per vehicle. Now, I don't know what company in the world would not be able to operate at a profit when they're paying you $110,000 per vehicle. That would be extremely profitable for whoever wins this contract. That is way over the production cost from any of the 3 companies left in the running for the contract. So when somebody tells you it's a $6.3 billion contract, they're not wrong. But by the time it's all said and done, the contract is going to be valued around $20 billion. So the odds of ending up unprofitable or operating at a loss over the next 5 years is slim to none. So lastly, let's get into when the contract will be awarded. This is probably the most asked question on my channel. I've seen it asked on a lot of other channels covering Workhorse. The simple answer is nobody knows for sure. No matter what people tell you, other than direct word from the United States Postal Service themselves, is pure speculation. There are many rumors that it has to be awarded by the end of this month, by the end of this September, otherwise USPS is going to lose its funding for the contract. This is simply untrue. The United States Postal Service is not funded by the government. They would not lose funds because they didn't deploy the funds by the end of the fiscal year, which is September 30th. So that is a common misconception among investors today, and as a result, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a minor sell-off in the first week of October from people and swing traders that were hoping to make a quick buck on the catalyst. Another rumor is 90 days after the RFP, which is the request for a proposal. Now, this has more merit to it. Workhorse's CEO Dwayne Hughes went on to CNBC and stated that the original plan was for the award to be dished out 90 days after the RFP. However, he was careful to say that that was part of the original plan, and he is really unaware of what the plans are currently. So if that's still part of the plan for the USPS, that would mean the contract would have to be awarded before October 14th because the RFPs were due on July 14th. However, even though that has more merit to it, there's no better word than from the United States Postal Service themselves. The most recent information we've received from the USPS themselves is from a Trucks.com article where the agency stated that they're planning an award for the production phase of the contract by the end of the calendar year. Now, this is personally the thought that I am subscribing to. I know for sure it's going to be awarded by the end of this calendar year because that's what the agency said themselves just a month ago. And honestly, I'd rather be surprised than disappointed if I was subscribed to the RFP deadline or the thought process that the funds had to be dished out by the end of this month. So I'm not saying any of those other possibilities aren't possible. All I'm saying is if you don't want to be disappointed, I would take the agency's most recent official word on the entire contract and subscribe to that. That way, you're surprised and ecstatic if it comes earlier than that. However, if it takes till December 31st, you're not going to be disappointed because that's what you were expecting anyway. So in the end, I believe we're all going to make a lot of money. And in this video, I highlighted that, most people think that the entire value of the contract is $6.3 billion. However, when it's all said and done, the contract is worth more like $20 billion, which works out to be about $110,000 per delivery vehicle. This is plenty for Workhorse to operate at a profit and have great revenues coming to their income statements. And if you guys are curious on my price targets depending on different percentages of the winnings that Workhorse could get, I would suggest watching this video here. I'll put a card up in the corner as well as a link down in the description for this video as well. I truly believe that Workhorse could go well over $100 a share on the initial pop if, in fact, they do win the majority of the contract. So again, remember to comment below how many shares and at what price you purchased Workhorse at. And also, leave a like on this video if you enjoyed it. Subscribe if you guys are new or returning and not yet subscribed. Also, click the join button right next to the subscribe button if you're interested in joining the paid monthly membership, where you get access to the members-only Discord server and many, many other perks that are laid out for you there. So with that, guys, I hope you have a great rest of your day. I hope you have a great Tuesday, and I'll be back on Wednesday with a brand new video. Peace out.